So I want to talk about improving your looks. I'm sure you've heard about looks maxing, black pill, red pill, all that stuff. I'm basically talking about that. And I want to talk about it in a way that I think isn't so commonly talked about. These ideologies have slightly different framing, and I'm not going to get into that because I have issues with most of the perspectives as it relates to women and particular outcomes in society as a result of your looks. I think one of the views which has become the most mainstream is this idea that if you improve your looks, you're going to get to a point where you are attractive, conventionally attractive. It's not usually said that explicitly, but that's the implication that once you looks max, once you improve your looks, you go to the gym or maybe you improve your hair, you improve your grooming, improve your style, that at some point you're going to be conventionally attractive. I think the problem with that is that it ignores the reality that for some people there's going to be a ceiling. In fact, for all people there's a ceiling. And generally, these things which people do, like grooming, in order to look better, are not going to dramatically influence the way that you appear. And by selling the dream to people who will not substantially change their looks just by doing these things, it kind of puts them in a position where they're set up for disappointment. And that's something which I don't think is talked about enough. When you improve your looks, you need to be realistic. And for the majority of people, it's not going to make you look like a supermodel. It's not going to make you look like a movie star. You'll look better, yes. You'll look more presentable, but most likely you're not going to be dramatically better looking than you started out. And I think that's something which needs to be emphasized more and needs to be clear so that people don't continually go on this spiral for years and years and years and never really get to a point that they feel that they were promised or that they expected based off of the messaging that was sent to them. So yeah, I think there needs to be a reframing of self-care in general so that people are a bit more accepting of the final result. It's not about making yourself look larger than life. It's about improving your self-concept. I don't think self-care is about trying to align with the conventional standards of beauty. It's more about being comfortable with who you are. Because if you're not comfortable with who you are, it affects how you show up in the world and that affects your outcomes in life. That's the real game changer when you are able to present yourself in the world, regardless of how you look, even if you're not conventionally attractive, and still influence people and still be seen as somebody who can affect positive change just because of the energy that you bring to the world. So I think people do need to be accepting of the fact that the majority of people are going to be conventionally unattractive. Because of that, you need to accept that there's not going to be any simple solution that's going to turn you from a conventionally unattractive person to a conventionally attractive person. It's just something that you need to accept, unless you're willing to go down the road of plastic surgery and drastic measures like that, which have their own downsides. But I mean, if you really want to improve your looks, it's a fair route to take. It's a bit difficult to get in a way that people are not going to be immediately put off by, but it is possible to get plastic surgery that is going to put you in the same bracket as conventionally attractive people. But I think that for a lot of people, that's out of their reach. It's quite expensive. It's difficult to reach that end goal, even if you're going down the plastic surgery route. But it is possible. I'm not talking to people who want to go the very distance until they get to a point where they're conventionally attractive. I'm mainly talking to the average person. The average person who has been sold this dream that if they just buy the right product, if they just do the right things, they eat the right food, they go on this diet, etc., 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 that they're going to become conventionally attractive. And the reality is, yes, you will improve your looks. It might not be dramatic. Maybe it will be. But not everybody can jump from an average looking person to a conventionally attractive person. Most of us are average because that's the definition. Average is most of us. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. I think I've been victim to this thinking that if I just keep going down a path of improving my looks, that I'm going to reach a place where I am very attractive. And I just don't think it's a healthy path to take. Because even when you become very, very attractive, it's still a maintenance kind of thing. You still have to accept that some days you're not going to look very good. And I think for some people, it's much, much harder to do the whole looks maxing thing and get very, very dramatic results. I want to speak to that person out there who has gone down that path and felt like it's not really working out how they thought it would. And I think it's much better for some people to look at improving your looks or maintaining your looks, self care, as something which proves to yourself that you show up for yourself daily, something that reminds you that you're worthwhile and you belong in the world. You are shaping yourself into a person who shows up in the world in a way that people appreciate. And that's going to make your life so much better because other people see that and respond to it.